Chapter 91. Endless Motivations. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 91. Endless Motivations. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation HM. Wu Yu was distracted for a moment and his muttering was picked up by Qin Baichuan's ears. You can't beat him. Wu Yu, what did you mean? Qin Baichuan's question alerted Wu Yu, snapping him out of his daze. You have a target. Not only Qin Baichuan, but the others were similarly surprised. This guy had just broken the record. What else could he be aiming for? What kind of person is this? Yes, Chief. Wu Yu's face was serious, replying in a strong voice, truth be told, before I met that person, my fastest record of clearing the obstacle course was 120 seconds. Just moments ago, my head was filled with the silhouette of that person. He was just in front of me. I was chasing after him every step of the way, but I still lost. Was that for real? Everyone was skeptical, feeling as though they were listening to some fictional story. Is what you said real? Qin Baichuan and the other upper-class guardians' expressions turned serious. Absolutely. Feng Hong, was there such a person? Qin Baichuan looked towards Feng Hong. Feng Hong nodded, then let out a long sigh and lamented, that person is no ordinary human. After a moment's pause, he continued, it was due to this person's appearance that I dared to have all the martial artists in my division to take part in this assessment. It was him that motivated all 15 of them, reawakening the passion in their hearts. Indeed, I can sense the passion within the 15 of them that is not found in the rest, Qin Baichuan replied with a nod. That person is very strong. Unbelievably strong. Even Feng Hong was at a loss of words to describe Yi Lingchen's prowess. Simply put, if he was here, all those records would be a thing of the past. Chief Qin, to be honest, my past training regime was mechanical and it could be considered as wasting time. It was because of this person's appearance that brought out the motivation in me to aim for perfection. Not to brag, but if it was normal shooting conditions, all 10 shots would hit the 10-point ring. However, even if that person had fired continuously, he would still hit 10 points for all 10 shots. Hence I must strive towards him as my goal. I no longer do this for the assessment, but to work towards a higher goal. Wu Yu delivered his response in a firm voice. Excellent. Qin Baichuan praised. He looked down from the observation platform and announced clearly, do you know what's the most important thing for a martial artist? It's not the combat prowess, but your soul. It's the mental state of a person, which we can also call it as a warrior's soul. Only with a strong warrior's soul would you improve. Why would the 15 of them perform so well? That's because they have seen something much higher, and they're striving towards it. This is the strength they gain from their warrior's soul. That's why, I hope that no matter what you achieve in the future, you must not grow complacent. You must always strive for improvement. Everyone's faces were flushed. All as one, they gave out a passionate roar, yes sir. Qin Baichuan once again looked at Wu Yu, oh right, when you were having your assessment, what was it you were mumbling back there? Chief Qin, it was this. Feng Hong took out his phone. These words were already their motto. The more you sweat, the less you bleed. Remember your dreams to finish. Qin Baichuan read it out, his eyes glowing suddenly, great words. Frame these quotes and send it to every division. Let everyone follow them. Why did you not invite such a person to the warriors department? Qin Baichuan was excited. He finally saw how Feng Hong's team had changed because of that person. That person could be named as the god of war or soul of the battle. Chief Qin, I too wished for him to join the warriors department, but he was unwilling. Feng Hong spread his arms, showing his anxiety too. Unwilling. Qin Baichuan and the 3 other upper-class guardians felt anger boiling from within, pointing at Feng Hong furiously at a loss for words. You stopped inviting him just because he was unwilling. How can you be so stupid? Start by offering him a lower-class warrior position, even a middle or upper-class warrior position is fine. Qin Baichuan said in a hurry, do you have his contact? Go send him the invitation quickly. I didn't contact him, but I know that Lin Ao and him are friends. Fang Hong sold Lin Ao out by passing the ball to him without any hesitation. Lin Ao's face turned dark immediately. He was just an observer from the sidelines but got instantly dragged into the mess. Lin Ao, is he your friend? Yes. Lin Ao answered with a bitter face. Then you go to invite him. Our special training camps will be having a special joint training soon. You bring him over. But Chief Qin. Do you understand the inviolable nature of a military order? Lin Ao. At that time, below the observation platform, countless martial artists were looking up at the observation platform with mixed feelings. Although they did not hear the conversation on the platform clearly, it was clear from Wu Yu's words earlier that he had a target. It was because of this target that he could reach such heights. BDNV, who was that person? How strong was he? Countless people looked up to him in their hearts. Within the crowd, a young man stood tall with a face expressing the vigor of youth. His eyes locked on the group of people on the observation platform. An intense flame was burning deep in his eyes. That person was Maniac Chu. Wu Yu and Qin Baichuan's exchange resonated strongly within him. In his mind, there was also a target. It was that young man that defeated him easily with just 2 kicks. It was because of that humiliation that he strove so hard to enter the warriors department. He needed to change. He wanted to defeat that young man. However, at that moment, he felt his blood boiling and the young man's figure in his mind had begun to fade away. Yes, a martial artist needed a heart that always strived for improvement. That person was but just a passing guest in my life. Even though he is stronger than me at the moment, I have already joined the warriors department. Defeating him is an eventuality. When I'm done with training, I will go back and defeat him. As for now, he needed to surpass that young man and look further. There were bigger goals for him to complete. With that, he started walking forward. At that time, the results were finalized and the assessment ended. Maniac Chu went up to Fang Hong and Wu Yu. With a sincere and passionate expression, he requested, Chief Fang, Chief Wu, please guide me on my training. Fang Hong and Wu Yu traded looks. A flash crossed their eyes. This person's mental state had good potential to be sculpted into a martial artist. Fang Hong smiled, then asked, why do you want to train with us? Because I too have a target in my heart. I must defeat him. Furthermore, he tightened his fist, filled with fighting spirit, I want to grow stronger. I want to stand proud as a martial artist for our country so that outsiders wouldn't dare look down on us. Fang Hong nodded, you have high spirits. However, our training is very taxing. I'm not afraid. When I go back, I, Maniac Chu, will clear my humiliation. Chapter 92. Opening of the basketball competition. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 92. Opening of the basketball competition. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Another weekend began. However, that weekend was different from the previous ones. Most of the students went out of their dorms instead of lying in bed, playing games in their rooms, ordering takeout, or shopping with their girlfriends. The reason for that was the basketball competition had begun. Yeezy, let's go. Let's cheer for little Jen together. Potato invited. Not only little Jen, we need to cheer for the entire language department. Xiang corrected him. Both of them were excited and filled with fighting spirit. That atmosphere had eventually got to Yi Lingchen, bringing a smile to his face. Ever since he obtained the prodigy system, he was destined to be different from others. Reality was exactly that. The events he experienced recently was nigh impossible for an average person. Only when he spends time with his roommates will he truly feel like a student. The three of them were talking and laughing as they headed over to the field that was already filled with people. Boys and girls were similarly excited, watching and discussing the matches by the side. The court was on the eastern half of the field, split up to 6 courts, allowing up to 12 teams to compete at the same time. The team matchups were decided by drawing lots. The competition was then separated into 2 halves. The first half and second half for 30 minutes each, with a 15 minutes break in between. Saturday 8 am. 9:30 am would be the first round of preliminary matches, 10 am. 11:30 am would be the second round. Saturday 1 p.m. 2:30 p.m. would be the third round, 3 p.m. 4:30 p.m. would be the fourth round. 5 p.m. 6:30 p.m. would then be the repechage match. On Sunday morning there would be another match following the preliminaries, then the afternoon would be the quarterfinals, semifinals and finals matches. The competition would go on for 2 days. Although the timing seemed rushed, the arrangement was still acceptable. Although the language department was mostly liberal arts students, with the male students not being the majority, they were rather lucky this time around. Several students were tall with passable basketball skills. That brought forth some unprecedented passion for the competition within the department. Yeezy, you're here too. Quite a few people were already in the court. Little Jen was also among the crowd, wearing a white basketball jersey. Seeing Yi Lingqian's arrival, quite a few students had a friendly smile on their faces. Due to the martial training incident, Yi Lingqian had left a strong impression within them. Little Jen, I didn't expect you to look that good in your basketball jersey. Yi Lingqian jested, are you ready? The results of the draw are out. We're in the second batch of preliminary matches. Little Jen replied. After a moment's pause, he said in a serious voice, the sports department is in the first batch. Sports department. Yi Lingqian's brows twitched. Needless to say, with them coming from the sports department, they were an extremely tough opponent. The sports department has almost always won first place in the university basketball competition. Granted, the students they scout for are all talented athletes with good physique, Potato added. TCH, our language department is not that bad either. I heard a lot of them took part in basketball competitions in high school too. Their skills are not bad, said Xiang begrudgingly. That's right. This time our language department will clear our bad name. At least. Not end up in the last place, a girl chimed in. She had short hair, a round face and looked cute. Her name was Gao Wen. However, those that were close to her would know that Gao Wen was an extrovert, a very active person. She volunteered herself to be the class sports committee. The language department had always performed rather poorly in sports. For once they managed to recruit some good athletes. It would be a real shame if they did not manage to get a good result. That's right. Putting first place aside, it's very likely for us to get into the top 10, said a senior. Pushing the glasses sitting on his nose, he started to analyze the situation. In last year's basketball competition our department took the 13th place. This time, we have quite a few good players coming from our freshmen. If we replaced 3 players from last year's basketball team with these people, our placement should have a drastic improvement. Speaking of good players, he continued, you students from this year's intake are something. I heard there was even one that defeated the martial training instructor. That's just legendary. I'm guessing he came from some martial artist family. Those hidden kung fu masters are really scary. The students from his class tacitly shifted their gaze onto Yi Lingqian, looking at him awkwardly. Right at that moment, a commotion started in the field. A group of students in basketball jerseys entered the field. The crowd cleared a path for them to pass through. The players are entering the court. It's now 7:50 a.m. There are only 10 more minutes until the match begins. Someone exclaimed in an excited tone. Those in black basketball jerseys are from the sports department. Little Jen said in a serious tone as he looked towards one direction. Following Little Jen's gaze, Yi Lingchen's brows frowned slightly. The sports department was just like how legend has it. They were all tall and well built, all of them over 180 centimeters. In their black jerseys, their thick arms and shoulders were fully exposed, giving off an intimidating aura to the others. That type of physique would allow them to wipe the floor with any normal team. It was no wonder they had always placed first. Of course, that was not the main point. The main point was Yi Lingchen seeing He Yuan in the sports department's team. His build was not as bulky as the others, but it was well balanced. Through the thin jersey, one can vaguely see the contours of his 6-packs. That handsome face carried a hint of a devilish smile, immediately starting a wave of screams from the girls. Ah, the people in the sports department are so handsome. I want a boyfriend from the sports department. Each of them have maximum boyfriend potential. He Yuan, all the best. I want to have your kids. All the best, sports department. I love you. Needless to say, the sports department had thousands of fans, immediately drowning out the cheers of other departments. At that moment, the entire court was seemingly dominated by the sports department. He Yuan was accustomed to such situations. Raising his hand and waved at the crowd, which in turn brought about another round of screams. At that time, his gaze stopped for a moment as he saw Yi Lingchen's figure in the crowd. The corner of his mouth curled into a mocking smile with a cold gleam flashing through his eyes. Damn it! It's He Yuan again. Potato and the rest had naturally noticed He Yuan, silently cursing their bad luck. He Yuan's skills are good. Although he is not the tallest, he managed to be the sports department's team leader. Little Jen's brows were lined with worry. I've watched him play previously. Regardless of dribbles, jumping power, explosiveness, and speed, they are all extremely polished. Little Jen, don't be afraid. I believe in you. Defeat him. Xiang cheered for Little Jen. After the players entered the court, it was time for warm-ups. The sports department was matched with the music department. Just from the department name, one could tell it was a joke played by the heavens. The music department was destined to be fodder. The music department was wearing orange jerseys. Each of their players looked bitter and helpless, obviously having no confidence in themselves. Chapter 93. Provocations on the Court. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 93. Provocations on the court. The match begins. The referee threw the ball in the air. He Yuan leaped with amazing jumping power, easily getting the ball. He immediately followed with a dribble, break, turnaround, followed by a 3-step layup. Score. From the start of the game, everything was smoothly carried out. His cool movements and the dashing way he scored sent He Yuan's fans into a frenzy. Their faces were all flushed from the excitement. He Yuan, you're the best. He Yuan looks the best. He Yuan, win the match. On the court, a group of cheerleaders in skimpy dresses appeared, with dazzling palms in their hands, cheering away. Are these girls blind? To think they would like that animal in disguise. Xiang said with an envious look. Brain.dead fans. Potato added with a pout. It was inevitable since the start of the match. The music department's morale dropped to an all-time low while the sports department was like a cat toying with a rat. Casually mopping the floor with them. In the first half, the results were 10-80, in the second half, the results were 16-192, a complete victory for the sports department. Next was the language department. It's about time. I'll head over first, said Little Jen. Little Jen, do your best. Cheered the students from his class. Gaowen said to the team, don't get nervous on the court. Just play as usual. All the best. After some simple warm-ups, the competition began. Language department versus biology department. Brother Nan, all the best. Beast, go get them. Skinny monkey, don't be a coward, just do it. Son, don't embarrass me. Go. At that moment, a fierce battle ensued. Both departments were shouting and cheering with nervous looks on their faces. However, weird nicknames were called out at the same time. Although little Jen was not strong, he was born tall. With that height advantage, he was known as the king of rebound. He was the team's defense, securing the backboard. Passing, stealing, dribbling, and charging through. A series of maneuvers filled the stadium with excitement and caused their hearts to pump faster. Pass the ball. This is not a solo show, pass it quickly. F***CK. How did they block that? What the heck? That was such a good chance and he didn't score. My God, a 3-pointer. Amazing. Judge, that guy hit his hand. It's a foul. Ha ha ha, I'm dying of laughter. To think he would be walking. On the court, all sorts of noises were flooding in, fully displaying the passionate youth of the students. At the same time, although Yi Lingchen was only casually observing from the side, there was the occasional proficiency boost. Inspiration gained from observing basketball competition, ball techniques proficiency +1. Inspiration gained from observing basketball competition, ball techniques proficiency +1. Inspiration gained from observing basketball competition, ball techniques proficiency +1. Although the speed of proficiency gain was slow compared to learning or self-studying, it was self-generated. Bit by bit, it accumulated to quite a decent amount. Furthermore, it was not limited to proficiency in basketball techniques, but ball-related techniques in general. In other words, soccer and ping pong were included in this ball mastery skill. Finally, the first half came to an end. The results were 63-52, with the language department in the lead. Students from the language department had an immediate morale boost, eagerly bringing over the water they had long prepared for the players. Good job. Let's keep this up for the second half. Yi Lingchen and the rest had walked towards little Jen as well. Little Jen, not bad. I've kept tabs for you. You've caught 13 rebounds, successfully blocked 3 times, and scored 6 points. Little Jen, come drink some water. Can you continue? On the other side, students from the biology department were similarly surrounding the players of their department. It's okay, the score gap isn't too far apart. We still have a chance in the second half. This term's students from the language department are way better than the previous terms. Their basketball skills are quite decent. Can your stamina last? If you can't, we'll request a change of players. Don't overexert yourselves. The second half began. The competition once again turned into a fierce fight between the teams. Although the biology department and language department had nothing to do with sports, the teams were surprisingly good at basketball. That led to them being the highlight of the second batch of the competition, causing even the other classes to come over. Right then, there was a commotion in the crowd. The sports department's player in black jerseys slowly pushed into the crowd. They too were watching the competition, but their faces were filled with contempt. Their appearance brought a change to the court's atmosphere, turning it awkward. The second half had finally concluded. 102-93, a close call for the language department. The entire language department erupted in loud cheers with a look of excitement in everyone's faces. However, with He Yuan at the front, he led the sports department players into the court in stride. The language department immediately felt the provocation of their opponents, losing the smile on their faces. Their basketball team similarly went forward to meet them. Hee, that surely was a surprise. I didn't think your team of rookies would win, said a sports department player with a sneer. What did you mean? Someone immediately retorted. The face of many students around them turned dark in an instant. Consider yourself lucky. If we were your opponents, you would have lost badly. F***ck your sister. What's this nonsense? The victor is not decided yet. Little Jen argued. Hee, just you guys. He Yuan was gloating, you better pray hard. The moment you meet us is when your competition ends. Mind your words. Although Gao Wen was a girl, she was no coward, we are all students. Friendship first, competition comes after. If you cross the line, I will report you to the school authorities. Friendship. He Yuan shook his head, we are no friends with the trash from the language department. Just wait for your loss. F***ck. A bunch of brawns without brains. F***ck. One of the language department's players could not hold back any longer and tried to fight. Unfortunately, although he was big-sized, he was not as heavily built compared to the sports department. He was pushed back instantly by a fatty, almost dropping him to the ground. What's wrong with calling you trash? You want to fight? Come if you dare. Gao Wen placed herself in between the teams, urging them, calm down guys, you still have a competition tomorrow. Go get yourselves ready, see you in court. He Yuan swept a glance at Yi Lingchen, his eyes filled with provocation. Finishing his statement, he led the team away. This incident immediately turned into a hot topic in the university, becoming a hot popular topic of debate for many. Have you heard? The sports department and language departments are going at it. Both sides hated the other and almost started a fight. That's the biggest news in our university. I've even heard that all this started because someone from the language department stole Li Muxue. He Yuan is seeking revenge. You don't say, that guy is a legend in our university. He'd even slept with Li Muxue. How can the language department compete with the sports department in basketball? I guess they will be floored in the court. Whatever it is, we'll have some good drama to watch. Faced with taunts from the sports department, the entire language department was filled with a gloomy atmosphere. Their expressions were dark. Gao Wen forced a laugh, trying to brighten the mood, don't look so tense guys. We just won the preliminaries. This calls for a celebration. When we meet the sports department's team on the court, we must teach them a lesson. That's right. We must teach those arrogant holes a lesson. Let's go look for a place to train this afternoon. I won't feel at peace if we don't defeat those animals from the sports department. I'm coming along. Count me in. Chapter 94. Foul, Corruption. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 94. Foul, Corruption. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, what's so great about the sports department? They're awesome just because they're good with basketball. Come compete with us in literature if you dare. Potato was still venting out his frustrations along the way. That's right. They should organize a poem composition competition and we will beat the shit out of them. Xiang chimed in. They are obviously picking on me, trying to vent on the entire language department. Yi Lingchen said with a frown. Yi Zi, don't say that. We all know what kind of person He Yuan is. We hate him anyways. Little Jen interjected, relax, I refuse to believe that our department will lose to the sports department in basketball. That afternoon, the language department's basketball team found a spot nearby the university and practiced for the entire afternoon. Everyone was holding in that grudge, ready to have a go with the sports department. The next day, the basketball competition started. As usual, the matchups were decided from drawing lots. Language department versus chemistry department. 113-97, the language department was victorious. Sports department versus biology department. 137-83, the sports department was victorious. The language department and the sports department managed to make it into the semi-finals. There were a total of 12 departments that made it into the semi-finals. As before, the matchup was decided by drawing lots. As everyone was waiting anxiously, little Jen ran back towards them. How was it? Who are we up against? Gawain asked impatiently. The others were also staring at little Jen nervously. If they could win this match, the language department would finally make it into the top 10, which would be the first time the language department making it into the list. It would be a moment worthy of the history books. If it's the mathematics or history department, that would be better for us. Our class still has a decent chance to beat them. The engineering department is fine too. As long as we're not unlucky and get some crazy team, our chance of winning is still quite high. However, little Jen's face was deathly serious. He took a deep breath before finally announcing, "We're up against the sports department." Silence. Everyone's heart sank. It's fine. It's not that we can't beat the sports department. Just do your best, Gawain tried to cheer them up. That's right. I've always hated those people from the sports department. It's good that our chance to teach them a lesson came earlier. Meanwhile, two players in black jerseys from the sports department walked over with a contemptuous smile on their faces. It seems your luck has run out. The language department trying to get into the top 10. Dream on. This is as far as you go. We're the mountain you will never cross. Don't waste time with this trash. Let's get ready and show them who's boss. He Yuan was already at the court, shouting at the two players. Get ready. The match began. The ball was thrown up in the air by the referee. Little Jen and He Yuan were in the middle trying to gain possession of the ball. Both of them jumped at the same time, stretching their arms to gain control of the ball. It was unclear if it was intentional or not. He Yuan's body slanted towards little Jen, his shoulders knocking into little Jen's chest. Little Jen immediately hit the floor and took a few steps back before he could stabilize himself. The ball fell into He Yuan's hands. With a smile on his face, he started dribbling and charging forward. Meanwhile, the cheerleading team was making sexy poses, shouting cheers as though they were on steroids. He Yuan, all the best. He Yuan looks the best. He Yuan, win the match. Breaking through defenses, passing, then following up with a 3-step layup. The sports department leads with 2 points. F***CK. He Yuan that B** starred is cheating right from the get-go. Is the referee blind? When the ball was served there was obviously physical contact. Are they doing to ignore that? Shameless. The crowd from the language department started cussing. On the other side of the court, two beautiful girls stood there. They were Li Muxue and Huang Xiaomeng. Huang Xiaomeng loved to join lively events and ended up dragging Li Muxue along. Haha, good job. Yi Lingchen that show-off is finally getting his butt handed to him. Huang Xiaomeng cheered them on. Although He Yuan did not directly pick on Yi Lingchen, he could still make things difficult for the department that Yi Lingchen was in a way that helped her vent some of her frustrations. The referee is from the student council. He Yuan is the student council president. How can they not be biased? Li Muxue frowned, reflecting on her actions. It was my mistake to start with, causing all these troubles for Yi Lingchen. I never expected He Yuan to be that petty. Muxue, you mustn't think like that. That bugger forcefully kissed you and slandered your reputation. Reputation is very important for a girl. Huang Xiaomeng tried to persuade her, then added, he's indebted to you. We must seek revenge. Ruthless revenge. By then, the competition was at its peak. With a score of 13-25, the language department was falling behind. The people from the sports department were big and tall. Furthermore, their strength, speed, and endurance were all better than the language department. The gap between them was only growing further apart. Finally, little Jen caught the ball. He stood under the backboard with a delighted expression, raised his hands for a shot. His height was 190 centimeters, standing under the backboard, shooting the ball was no different from placing the ball in the basket. It could be considered child's play. The title King of Rebound was not given in vain. However, just as the basketball almost left his palm, a shadowy figure suddenly leaped forward, blocking his path. Then, a pair of hands slammed downwards. Smack! Accompanying the clear sound of hands hitting, the ball flew away. At the same time, little Jen fell to the ground from the forceful blow. Referee, hand hitting. F***CK foul. That's F***King intentional. However, the referee was indifferent. After the ball flew off, it was intercepted by the sports department's players. Without any hesitation, it quickly followed through and scored. The whistle sounded, the sports department once again scored 2 points. F***CK. What's the meaning of this? Insider referee. Putting the foul aside, how can that score count? F***CK your mother. Dumb *SS referee. Their eyes were red with anger, seething with rage. Yi Lingchen immediately rushed forward to help little Jen up, checking on him, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," little Jen rubbed his wrist. That hit earlier almost dislocated his hand. Furthermore, his entire hand was red from the hit. He Yuan gave a cruel smile at the group in the language department's corner, asking sarcastically, "What? Screaming at the top of your lungs. If you can't bear the loss then leave. Don't stay here and embarrass us. F***CKU. Do you have any shame?" Student Council President. Shameless president is more fitting. Corruption, this is the most corrupt referee. I'll report you to the university authorities. The competition continues. After the first time, He Yuan and the rest acted with impunity. Hitting hands, walking, the referee just ignored everything. Right then, He Yuan dribbled the ball towards the backboard. Little Jen blocked his path to intercept the ball, fully blocking him in. A ruthless gleam flashed through He Yuan's eyes. His body angled towards little Jen with his shoulders directly crashing onto little Jen's face. At the same time, his elbow struck out at little Jen's chest. Little Jen made a muffled sound and fell back a few steps. Losing his balance, he then fell to the floor. His brows tightly knit together and his face looked ashen, clutching tightly at his chest. Chapter 95. It's time to show my real skills. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 95. It's time to show my real skills. He Yuan did not even bat an eye at little Jen, dribbled, passed through, jumped and scored. The whistle sounded. The sports department scored 2 more points. FCK. Are you blind? You're ignoring him for crashing into others and injuring them to this degree, someone shouted. Unable to hold himself back, he rushed up to the referee to question him. He Yuan broke through his defense. That person fell on his own, don't slander others. The referee retorted confidently, then added coldly, if you disrespect me again, I'll revoke your right to compete. Your sister. You think you're a big shot just because you're some dog *T referee. We have this many people as witnesses. Potato roared. Are you the referee or am I the referee now? The referee scoffed, the first half has ended. Break for 15 minutes. The results for the first half were 39-93, the language department was behind by a huge margin. Everyone in the language department had an ugly look on their face. At the same time, other audiences too started noticing the foul play involved, but they could not do anything about it. The basketball competition was an activity run by the students, whereby the university authorities hardly concerned themselves with it as it was handled by the student council directly. That was why He Yuan dared to act with impunity. Little Jen, are you okay? Yi Lingchen asked while holding him up. It's fine, just. I think I sprained my ankle, he replied as he tried to move his foot. That motion brought a crease to his brows, causing him to gasp in pain. He Yuan's tackle was obviously unreserved and intentional. That be asterisk starred. He's the spokesperson of shamelessness. Let's stop this match. What's the point? I'll find a chance and give He Yuan a good beating. Little Jen won't be able to take part in the second half. Let's send him to the infirmary. Right at that moment, Li Muxue came over with Huang Xiaomeng. Li Muxue looked at Yi Lingchen apologetically, then suggested, you should stop the match. In the second half, He Yuan might take it to another level. He dares. Worst case I'll go all out on him, someone grunted his frustrations. Everyone was suppressing the smoldering rage within them. He's the student council president after all. If you dare get physical with him, you will get demerits, Li Muxue continued to explain. So what if he's the student council president? What's the worst he could do? Chickening out. If you want to chicken out then just leave. It'll save you the embarrassment of having your *SS handed to you. You're winning through underhanded means. What's there to boast about? Underhanded means. He Yuan scoffed, then looked at them condescendingly, you know why I'm picking on your guys. His eyes narrowed, then pointed a finger at Yi Lingchen, it's because of him. Since he's a student of your language department, then your entire department will have to bear the consequences of his actions. He Yuan then looked towards little Jen, yes, I've hit you on purpose. What about it? You can only blame your luck. It's your fault that you're Yi Lingchen's roommate. F***CKU. Cheating be **starred. Little Jen barked at He Yuan. You shouldn't hate me. The one you should hate is Yi Lingchen. He's the one to cross me first. He Yuan looked down on them as though the victor, then walked towards Yi Lingchen, speaking calmly, I've told you before that I'm not one you can cross. Just you wait. I'll always keep you under my foot. Yi Lingchen remained calm. The He Yuan at that moment was nothing but a clown to him. He would not fight with a clown, but he would not let a clown dance all around him as he wished to. Yi Lingchen's eyes locked onto He Yuan, giving him a cold icy look, seems like it's time for me to show my real skills. What? Basketball, you all suck at it. Yi Lingchen waved him off, I don't mind educating you. With that statement, everyone was stunned. Was that boasting? Do you know what you're saying? He Yuan looked at Yi Lingchen as though it was all a joke, have you played basketball before? Do you even know what a basketball is? Yi Lingchen stood there with hands behind his back, eyes calm as still water, at first, it was not worth my time to deal with you. However, with your constant provocations, I'll have to teach you how to be a proper human being. F***CK. Are you addicted to bragging? He Yuan laughed at the ridiculous statements. Just who do you think you are? The crowd around them broke into discussions, murmurs washed through the crowd as they looked at Yi Lingchen in surprise. Yi Lingchen was trying to compete with He Yuan in basketball. Stop your nonsense and leave. I'll see you in the second half of the match. Yi Lingchen waved him off as though shooing an annoying fly. Sure. I hope you don't run away then. Yi Lingchen, why are you so hot-headed? Once He Yuan had left, Gao Wen immediately walked up to him, the score gap in the first half is too big. Since we can't win this, there's no point to compete with a cheating team. That's right. Yi Zi, we know that you're good at fighting, but basketball is not the same thing. There are competition rules. They can go against the rules, but we can't. Xiang chimed in. Yi Zi, let's just call this match off. That be *starred is trying to get at you. Once you're on the court, who knows what he might do to you? Potato stated worryingly. Yi Zi, your bragging skills are really something to be able to aggravate He Yuan like that, but there's no need to continue this match. L.rg, it's fine everybody, relax. I'm good at basketball. Yi Lingchen smiled, to be honest, I just didn't want to stoop to their level. To me, their skills are too crappy and I don't like to bully weaklings. For real. Everyone eyed him suspiciously. You guys just watch. Yi Lingchen looked towards Little Jen, give me your jersey and hurry over to the infirmary. Relax, I'll avenge you. However, Little Jen refused to go, obstinately wanting to watch Yi Lingchen's game. The second half of the match began. He Yuan looked at Yi Lingchen stepping into the court, an icy gleam flashed across his eyes. As the first half ended with the sports department scoring, the ball was served to the sports department. He Yuan took the ball, broke through defenses, then quickly ran towards the backboard. Along the way, he would tackle those who blocked him. To that, the referee closed an eye to such incidents. Because of that, he was unstoppable. The entire basketball court turned into his one-man show. That's just disregarding all the rules. How do you play against that? The people in the language department were upset. As the incident got escalated, other people started to join in the audience crowd. Most of them were just there for the drama. In their eyes, most of them had already considered the sports department as something to avoid, hence they were not surprised to witness such a phenomenon. Very soon, He Yuan was already under the backboard. He jumped, aimed and shot the ball while maintaining a dashing pose. This shot is a sure hit. A smile could be seen on his face, as though he could see Yi Lingchen's expression in despair. The ball left his hand, slowly soaring through the air towards the hoop. Everyone held their breath at that moment. However, a dark shadow appeared out of nowhere. Like a mountain, rising at an alarming speed. The figure raised his hand and intercepted the ball in the air, smacking it away. Bang! A loud thunderous voice echoed throughout the court, shaking everyone's eardrums. Such a beautiful block, it managed to daze a big proportion of the crowd for some time. OMG! He Yuan was blocked. This is the first time he was blocked right. That was violent. It's no ordinary block. That was without a doubt the best block ever, almost a slap to his face. That fella sure has good jumping strength to be able to block He Yuan. Yi Zi, wonderful block. Amazing. The language department went up in cheers excitedly, greatly boosting their morale. Chapter 96. King of Blocking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 96. King of Blocking. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. He Yuan stood still for a long time, dazed and unable to believe the fact that he was blocked. How is that possible? He finally awoke from his daze after some time. He stared wildly at Yi Lingchen with disbelief in his eyes. There are plenty more impossible things to come. Yi Lingchen was composed, as though it were nothing. As the ball was sent out of court by Yi Lingchen, the sports department maintained the rights to serve. The match had just begun, but everyone could feel the intense animosity between them. Yi Lingchen's block left an even stronger impression in their hearts. Forget the defense. Just let him attempt to score, Yi Lingchen told the players from the language department. The opponents had no regard for the rules, making defending pointless. The ball was served. However, when He Yuan caught the ball, he was stunned. Not only him, but everyone else was stunned as well. On the court, not a single person was defending. The players from the language department's team just stood and watched from the side. The backboard was fully open, leaving him to take his shot. His expression turned ugly. Such disrespect was hundreds of times more hurtful than words. With a deep breath, he steeled his eyes. I will make sure you regret this. Dribbling and charging straight ahead. Jump, and shoot. Nevertheless, the same scene happened again. A shadow figure leaped upwards. Bang! The sound was more resounding than earlier. The ball shot away, barely brushing by He Yuan's head. Yi Lingchen's eyes were emotionless, looking indifferently at He Yuan, speaking slowly, continue. The third time, Yi Lingchen weaved around like a spirit, easily going past his opponents. Bang! The third block sounded. Silence befell the entire court. The audience was stunned. He Yuan and his cheerleading team were stunned. Even the people from the language department were stunned. He Yuan stood under the hoop looking dispirited, his whole body trembling. Humiliation. Extreme humiliation. His eyes were red with a strong urge to take Yi Lingchen's life. Yi Lingchen had intentionally called off the defense just so that he could block him. Continue. Yi Lingchen urged, his steady voice caused He Yuan's body to tremble more severely. He was scared. Yi Lingchen's image in his mind increased countless times in size, turning into an insurmountable mountain. It broke his confidence from the depths of his soul. Yi Lingchen, you're crossing the line. I'll make you regret this. He Yuan shouted without a care for his image, behaving like a madman. He charged towards the hoop a fourth time. He Yuan did not choose to take a shot this time around, but instead ran to the bottom of the backboard for a three-step layup. He locked his eyes on the hoop. This time, it must score. However, without any warning, a huge shadow once again loomed over him, slamming the ball right out of He Yuan's hand. Bang! He Yuan was in midair, along with the ball, was smacked to the ground forcefully. His body slammed hard against the floor. He Yuan stood up with great difficulty. By then, his eyes lost focus and his forehead was drenched in a cold sweat as though he had suffered extreme psychological trauma. Nobody uttered a word during that exchange, or rather, they were at a loss for words. Yi Lingchen was too strong, monstrously strong. In front of Yi Lingchen, He Yuan was like a child that just learned how to walk. Continue. The same statement again, yet it sapped He Yuan of all his strength to lift the ball. In just a few attempts, he was already drenched in sweat, feeling more worn out than going through a full match. Substitution. You guys try to score. He Yuan finally blurted out that sentence after a long while. In his voice, one could tell he was on the verge of breaking down in tears. However, block. Block. Another block. No matter who it was, they had to face the risk of getting blocked by Yi Lingchen whenever they attempted a shot. Until the end, nobody in the sports department dared to make a shot even with the ball in their hands. The ball had turned into a hot potato, making them indecisive about whether to hold on to it or not. The crowd broke out in murmurs. That's just too epic. King of blocking. That's nuts. Competing with him in basketball is a form of torture. Pitiful, just too pitiful. The entire sports department was blocked by him. I can't bear to watch this anymore. This is going into the history books as the most embarrassing day for the sports department. Although there was still a huge gap between the scores, the sports department had been completely humiliated. All of them had been utterly defeated. Nobody dares to shoot anymore. Yi Lingchen gave a faint smile, then dashed towards one of the sports department's players. That player had the ball in his hand. When he saw Yi Lingchen rushing at him, his expression turned into one of shock. Just as he tried to pass the ball along, his hands felt empty. The ball was already taken by Yi Lingchen. Ball in hand, Yi Lingchen did not dribble, but instead jumped up and made a shot. Clunk. The ball went straight into the hoop. Amazing. Not only is he good at blocking, even his shots are amazing. That's a three-pointer. A long-distance three-pointer. Is that luck or skill? From the moment Yi Lingchen entered the court, everyone felt that their hearts were not strong enough. If you're no longer making shots, then it's my turn. Yi Lingchen ignored the rest of them and had the language department serve the ball. Dribble, breakthrough. The ball was seemingly alive in his hands. Those from the sports department could not even touch it. They could only see a blur, and the very next moment, Yi Lingchen had broken through their defense. He shoots. Clunk. Another three-pointer. Continue serving. Yi Lingchen did not waste time. The basketball flew across the air, creating one beautiful arc after another. Three-pointer, three-pointer. Bedo Derem yet another three-pointer. Very quickly, the score went to 63. 93, the score of the language department increased at an alarming rate. Meanwhile, the sports department had not gained a single point. The entire court turned into Yi Lingchen's home field. As long as the ball fell into his hands, it would score in the next moment. If the ball fell into the sports department's control, it would be stolen by Yi Lingchen within 3 seconds. The originally prideful players from the sports department had their spirit broken. Their heads were drooping, feeling physically and mentally exhausted. At that moment, their only thought was to end the match as soon as possible. I didn't expect him to be that good at basketball, Li Muxue exclaimed, staring at the figure running all over the court with amazement in her beautiful eyes. Beside her, Huang Xiaomeng was annoyed when she saw Li Muxue's dreamy gaze. Huang Xiaomeng then looked at Yi Lingchen with a glance, a mischievous smile appeared at the edge of her lips. Sister Muxue is mine. Nobody can steal her away from me. Sister Muxue, why don't we treat him to a meal to clear up the misunderstanding between us? Didn't you have a bone to pick with him? Why would you suddenly think of treating him? Lu Muxue asked, feeling curious. It's just a misunderstanding from the beginning. It's better to make friends than enemies. Let's not drag this. We'll treat him right after this match. Huang Xiaomeng replied excitedly. That's fine, Li Muxue agreed to it after muttering to herself for some time. Chapter 97. Invited by Beauties. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 97. Invited by Beauties. Finally, along with the referee's whistle, the match had ended. 116-93. A complete victory by the language department. We won, we won. The entire language department was stunned at first, then erupted in cheers. Yi Zi, good job. Yi Zi, you're really something, man, keeping such a low profile. Good at games, kung fu, and basketball. You must be some sort of hidden expert, aren't you? Comparing you and He Yuan, he's like a pile of dog poo. Yi Zi, you're so dependable. If I were a girl, I'll surely fawn over you. Is it too late to get gender reassignment therapy? Potato and Gang joined in too, hugging Yi Lingchen and laughing along. Yi Lingchen, thank you very much. Gao Wen approached him to show her appreciation, carrying a hint of excitement in her voice. Yi Lingchen, if you continue to take part in the upcoming matches, our department will surely win first place. I'll pass. Yi Lingchen shook his head. I'll leave the following matches in your hands. He joined the match just to teach He Yuan a lesson. If he continued to take part in the competition, that would be just plain bullying. A look of disappointment appeared on Gao Wen's face, but she did not make any further requests. It's fine. However, I suggest that you apply for the university's sports department. With your potential, you should not waste your talents. I will consider that, Yi Lingchen answered with a smile and nodded, after which he helped support little Jen to the infirmary. With his medical knowledge, he could help little Jen set his bones back with some massaging. However, doing so might attract too much unwanted attention. He had brought enough attention to himself that day and decided to leave it at that after he gave it some consideration. Yi Zi, you're amazing. That felt great. Little Jen kept talking, almost forgetting the pain in his foot. Those blocks of yours had traumatized the entire sports department. I had even specially recorded all their expressions down. I'll be saving that to my collection, Xiang added from the side. Damn. That's smart. Quick, send it to me. That way I'll have something to de-stress myself with in the future. At the same time, the people in the sports department also let out a breath of relief. It's finally over. They did not feel bad because of the loss. Instead, they felt free from the shackles of that match, a blissful smile of freedom shone on their faces. They suffered from the heavy pressure when faced with Yi Lingchen. It was a match where one could not see a sliver of hope. Even until the end, they dared not even think about touching the ball, as the moment they touched it, it would mean that they would be in Yi Lingchen's sights. Just recalling the memory brought fear to them. He Yuan stared at Yi Lingchen's figure, his face deathly pale and the veins on his forehead bulged. The intense humiliation almost turned his face into a different color. You're just a loser in the end. Just you wait. At the same time, his phone vibrated from a message received. It came from an unknown number. Tonight Li Muxue will ask Yi Lingchen out for dinner. The location is at Old Eastern Gate Restaurant. It was just a simple message, but it transformed He Yuan's expression into an extremely dark one. Just the humiliation from Yi Lingchen's constant blocking was bad enough. At that moment, he felt that Yi Lingchen had donned a green hat on his head. A field of greenfield on the top, growing greener by the second. Of course, that was all just one-sided in his head. A cruel look flashed across his eyes. This is unbearable. Yi Lingchen brought little Jen to the infirmary. A sprained foot was not a big deal. He only needed to take a good rest to recover. After getting some anti-inflammatory medication and painkillers, they let him out. Just as they exit the infirmary, Yi Lingchen paused in his steps with a look of surprise on his face. Standing outside was Li Muxue and Huang Xiaomeng. It would seem that they followed him over. Potato and the gang instead displayed a creepy smile, their eyes shifting between Li Muxue and Yi Lingchen. Yi Lingchen, can I treat you to dinner tonight? Li Muxue's beautiful eyes stared at Yi Lingchen sincerely. Of course. Our Yi Zi is very free. Xiang answered without giving Yi Lingchen a chance to reply, even pushing him forward. Yi Zi, we'll be going back first. Have fun. Little Jen waved him goodbye. You don't have to come home tonight. We won't be waiting for you. Those three animals. Yi Lingchen shook his head helplessly, then looked towards Li Muxue. What's the matter? I'm sorry that I caused you so much trouble, Li Muxue answered after biting her lips. All the while she had been reflecting on her actions, with the scene where she met Yi Lingchen constantly on replayed in her mind. From the moment she met Yi Lingchen on the bus, she had assumed that Yi Lingchen stirred up trouble to gain her attention. In the end, not only did Yi Lingchen save a child, he even captured the kidnappers. After that, he had used Yi Lingchen as a shield to reject He Yuan. To her, it was just a small issue, but it caused Yi Lingchen to be at the receiving end of He Yuan's petty revenge. If not for Yi Lingchen handling each situation as they came, the outcome would have been worse. However, while she was feeling guilty, a twinge of curiosity grew in her heart. Every time she met him, he seemed to be full of surprises. Everything he did was like the stars in the sky, attracting people around him. However, when she recalled the time Yi Lingchen forced a kiss on her and spewed those baseless words, it made her feel aggravated and embarrassed. All in all, she had mixed feelings about Yi Lingchen. Yi Lingchen did not know all the inner thoughts that Li Muxue had in that short amount of time. He only saw Li Muxue's expression constantly changing between guilt, embarrassment, anger. This woman. Her face was just too expressive. It was a shame for her to not be in a movie. Yi Lingchen thought about it regretfully, then said, if it's to apologize, then save it. We'll just treat it like nothing ever happened and we don't owe each other anything. Having said that, he tried to leave. Li Muxue tried to speak, but was at a loss for words, feeling frustrated. That was the first time someone could ignore her beauty, yet she could not be angry about it. Hey, are you a man or not? Huang Xiaomeng shouted at Yi Lingchen. She moved to place herself directly in Yi Lingchen's path, blocking his way, and stared at him. We, as girls, have taken the initiative to apologize. Why are you acting all high and mighty? You're just too petty. Furthermore, you have announced in public that you have slept with Sister Mushue. We're not even holding you accountable for that. Do you know how damaging it is for us girls to have those words spread out? Moreover, isn't Sister Mushue beautiful enough? We're treating you to dinner, not torturing you. What do you have to be afraid of as a man? Fine. Where do you want to go? Yi Lingchen looked at Li Mushue, then finally agreed to it. Let's go to the old Eastern Gate restaurant near the university. Their food is good, and the price is decent. Without waiting for Li Mushue's reply, Huang Xiaoming interjected impatiently, let's not waste time, we'll head over now. Green hat. In Chinese, the saying of wearing a green hat means getting cuckolded. In this context, the more vibrant the color, the more obvious the cuckolding is. Chapter 98. High-capacity water gun. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 98. High-capacity water gun translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. The old Eastern Gate restaurant was one of the more famous restaurants near the campus. It was said to have been operating for the past 100 years. The taste was authentic and the food was fresh. It was popular among the locals and filled with customers every day. As it was nearby, the three of them decided to walk there. Yi Lingchen followed behind Li Mushue and Huang Xiaoming. Over time, his expression started to look weird. Along the way, he noticed that Huang Xiaoming slung her hand around Li Mushue, sticking herself up to Li Mushue as close as she could. The way she looked at her was also suspicious and the words she used were flirtatious. Li Mushue's expression was slightly unnatural, but she did not say anything. These two girls had something wrong going on, something terribly wrong. Yi Lingchen was behind them. His gaze moving back and forth quickly between the two of them. No wonder Huang Xiaoming had a bigger grudge than Li Mushue. It seemed that she thinks of Li Mushue as her woman. Li Mushue was the most popular girl in the university. If this piece of news were to spread, who knows how many young men will go crazy over it. This was a crazy world. If he knew this earlier he would not have come along as a third wheel. Three of them found a table by the window and sat down. All were silent. Yi Lingchen was looking at the two girls suspiciously, at a loss for words. Huang Xiaoming, on the other hand, was busy looking around. The way she looked at Yi Lingchen was obvious that she had ill intentions. Why isn't he Yuan here yet? Could it be that he's afraid of Yi Lingchen and chickened out? Finally, Li Mushue broke the silence and passed the menu to Yi Lingchen. Yi Lingchen, this is the menu. Have a look and decide on what you want to eat. Sure. Yi Lingchen did not show any reservations and simply ordered a few dishes. Meanwhile, at a corner in the old Eastern Gate, He Yuan, along with three guys were sitting in a hidden corner. Their eyes constantly looked towards Yi Lingchen's direction. All three of them had heavy builds. With a glance, one could tell that they were athletes. They were all from the sports department and had taken part in the basketball match. They were badly humiliated by Yi Lingchen almost to the point of tears. Brother Yuan, when are we making a move? Big Muscle asked impatiently, from the time of my birth, I was never that badly humiliated before. I need my revenge. That's right, Brother Yuan. Since when did our sports department suffer this type of humiliation? Maybe you don't know, but I almost cried on the court. Brother Yuan, it's bad enough that he blocked your shots, he's now putting a green hat on your head. If this is not crossing the line, I don't know what is. Shut up. He Yuan scolded, his expression twisted, you guys are all bronze and no brains. I want to make a move too. The problem is that we are no match for him. He had even defeated a martial artist. With just us, it's not even sufficient for him to warm up. To teach him a lesson, we'll have to do it smartly. Good one, Brother Yuan, you're so knowledgeable. You're so smart. Big Muscle said in sincere respect. Brother Yuan, how to do this smartly? You should have a plan, right? You've all watched our campus productions, right? I've purposely brought something good. Take a look. He Yuan said with an inscrutable laugh, after which he took out a woven bag. We only need to put this bag over his head when he's not paying attention. With that, his kung fu will be of no use. All that's left is for us to beat him up as we wish. Good plan, Brother Yuan. Ha ha ha, I can't wait. Damn. That's the legendary woven bag that can induce blindness. This is an eye-opener for me today. I knew following Brother Yuan was a good idea. When are we doing this, Eddie? Be patient. We need to find a chance to give him the fatal blow. Wahahaha. He Yuan was pleased. Alright, we'll follow Brother Yuan's orders. During his meal, Yi Lingchen stared at Huang Xiaomeng, who kept serving food to Li Muxue. He felt a shiver down his spine, troubling him. Hee, you might not believe this, but the two girls sitting across me are publicly displaying their affection to me. Yi Lingchen hurriedly finished his food, wanting to get out of this troubling situation. I need to use the restroom. Yi Lingchen stood up and headed for the restroom. Brother Yuan, that punk is going to the restroom. He Yuan and his lackeys were immediately energized, their eyes glowing. Let's go. It's time for revenge. The four of them rubbed their hands and followed closely behind Yi Lingchen to the restroom. He Yuan stopped at the restroom door and pressed his ears against it, carefully listening in. Brother Yuan, what are we waiting for? Big Muscle was anxious. Shoo, He Yuan was on high alert, snickering softly, we will wait until he's peeing. Wouldn't that be safer? Smart. That's a smart move. Big Muscle and the other two snickered along, then gave He Yuan a big thumbs up. After a moment, He Yuan made the call, it's about time. Let's go in. Huang Xiaomeng had also noticed the commotion. Her big eyes lit up, feeling both excited and curious. Sister Muxue, the show is about to start. She said excitedly while rubbing her hands together. Show? What show? Li Muxue was taken aback. Ha, He Yuan followed Yi Lingchen into the restroom. Huang Xiaomeng's excitement was uncontainable. Quick, let's go have a look. He Yuan. What is he doing here? Li Muxue frowned her brows. Should be just a coincidence. Huang Xiaomeng's eyes swiveled, He Yuan definitely won't let Yi Lingchen off. They will surely have a big fight in the restroom. It's a show not to be missed. You can't be thinking of going to the men's room, right? Li Muxue was stupefied. What's wrong? I've paid attention earlier. It's already half an hour since anyone entered the restroom. Why would you pay attention to such things? Li Muxue was shocked. Aya, that's not the point. The point is that we need to hurry over. Huang Xiaomeng urged Yi Lingchen is about to be given a beating. Don't you want to see that? All right. Li Muxue gave it some thought. This all happened because of her. She should try her best to stop it from happening. Inside Old Eastern Gate restaurant, two girls were carefully inching closer to the men's room. Yi Lingchen just undid his fly and was leisurely expelling water. He lowered his gaze at his gushing flow. Apart from increasing his fighting prowess, martial arts had brought him other benefits too. Based on his current ability, he would get top placements in a competition for peeing distance. Yi Lingchen, being pleased by the thought, started whistling. This punk was whistling at a time like this. He Yuan and the other three sneakily closed in, their gaze glued to Yi Lingchen's back. With the woven bag in their hand, they inched closer and closer. As they approached, a creepy smile formed on their face, sinister and vicious looking. If a man were to be scared at such moments, he might develop a phobia. If they added in a round of beating for him, he would probably be scared whenever he peed. From the reflection on the urinal, Yi Lingchen had long noticed the commotion behind him. As the figures came closer, he turned around suddenly. Whoosh! The high-capacity water gun was like a water truck, drawing various arcs across the air, raining down on the four people that were smiling stupidly. F***ck. The sudden change stunned the four of them, leaving them clueless, and they immediately rushed backward. However, the strength and power of this water gun was beyond average. It followed the four of them closely. They could only feel the droplets raining on them, splashing across their faces. The best part was that their mouths were slightly open due to their surprise, causing some of the droplets to rain into their mouths. Faced with that strong and intense water gun, the four of them could only retreat helplessly into a corner like injured lambs, stricken by fear. At the same time, the restroom doors once again opened. Two little heads peeked in from outside, curiously looking inwards. That peek shocked their eyes open wide. Chapter 99. Qualifications of a Gigolo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 99. Qualifications of a Gigolo translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Li Muxue and Huang Xiaoming screamed at the same time. Both had vastly different reactions. Li Muxue immediately covered her eyes and moved back outside, whereas Huang Xiaoming was covering her mouth with her hands, eyes staring wide open. They had expected to witness a fight breaking out in the restroom, never expecting to see Yi Lingchen showering Hu Yuan and his muscular minions into a corner like that. Their eyes were especially surprised since they were unwittingly given a close-up view of what happened. The image was deeply imprinted in their heads. That was too violently perverted. Li Muxue was on the brink of a breakdown as she was unable to dispel the image in her head. She repeatedly shook her head and was almost at the point of tears. At the same time, she dragged the surprisingly delighted Huang Xiaoming out of there as well. Oh! Yi Lingchen, that be *****. How dare he whip out such a disgusting thing? Li Muxue was holding her head with both her hands, going crazy. I'm gonna be blind. She noticed that Yi Lingchen was her nemesis. Ever since meeting him, her first kiss was taken, name ruined, and now even her eyes were tainted. Sister Muxue, that was the men's room. Yi Lingchen took it out to pee. We were the peeping toms, Huang Xiaoming corrected her with an unbiased opinion. Yi Lingchen was thoroughly seen by us. It's his loss. Li Muxue agreed after some thought, then looked towards Huang Xiaoming with a dejected expression. You're the one that dragged me along. Sister Muxue, it's not like seeing it will make you pregnant. We've even learned something. Huang Xiaoming replied nonchalantly. That He Yuan is so useless. I thought he could teach Yi Lingchen a lesson. Instead, he was cornered by that water gun. What a useless prick. Huang Xiaoming and Li Muxue's screams gave Yi Lingchen a scare. There are girls hiding in the restroom. I guess they must be shocked by my powerful tool. I must keep it low. Keep a low profile. He quickly zipped his pants, then got ready to leave. Hold it right there. He Yuan roared. He was drenched from top to bottom, with liquid still running off his face. Without any shred of dignity left, he glared at Yi Lingchen. You think you can leave that easily? What, you want more? Yi Lingchen got ready to unzip his pants again. He Yuan and his gang immediately turned pale and backed off quickly, obviously traumatized by Yi Lingchen's weapon. Yi Lingchen then walked out of the restroom after glancing at them. Returning to his seat, he noticed Li Muxue's face was as red as a hot iron, almost to the point of smoking. Her gaze shifted away, trying to avoid eye contact with Yi Lingchen. Are you okay? Yi Lingchen asked out of concern. His medical skills were great and Li Muxue did not seem like she was ill. I'm fine. Li Muxue immediately replied, shaking her head. That's fine then. Oh, did you hear some girls scream earlier? Yi Lingchen asked again. Li Muxue and Huang Xiaoming were caught by surprise, then quickly shook their heads in denial. Ring, Just as Yi Lingchen wanted to ask further questions, his phone rang. The called ID showed that it was Lin Ruoyu. Yi Lingchen picked up the call. "Hello, Miss Lin. Grandmaster Yi, I'm about to reach your university. Where are you?" He had made an appointment to treat grandfather Lin's illness, but he did not expect Lin Ruoyu to come pick him up personally. "I'm currently at the Old Eastern Gate. You can come over here directly." Shortly after, a red Porsche zoomed over and parked in front of the restaurant. Lin Ruoyu was wearing a thin black leather jacket that day. Wearing shades, she stood next to the Porsche with her long fair legs exposed. A fancy car, a beautiful woman, add to that Lin Ruoyu's aura of nobility. It immediately attracted many stares from those around her. "My friend is here. You guys enjoy your dinner. I'll be making a move." Yi Lingchen stood up and walked outwards after bidding them goodbye. Looking at the direction Yi Lingchen was heading, Huang Xiaomeng and Li Muxue almost had their eyes popped out of their sockets, mouth agape. "Damn! Don't tell me that guy is trying to pick up the girl. Is his lust out of control?" Huang Xiaomeng exclaimed out of surprise. "Do you think he will be slapped by that girl?" However, more surprises lay ahead. Yi Lingchen was happily chatting with that girl, followed by him getting into her car. This. Huang Xiaomeng was flabbergasted, immediately changing her tone to one filled with social justice. "Gigolo. Son of a B*tch. B*starred. He's a sugar baby." Li Muxue coughed in response. "Xiaomeng, don't spread rumors. But we saw it with our own eyes. He's just a poor kid. What else could it be apart from him being a sugar baby?" Huang Xiaomeng gritted her teeth. "Look at that girl. She's wearing leather, definitely kinky. Is that not obvious enough? I really couldn't tell that he was a gigolo." She paused for a moment, then changed her tone. "You know, Sister Muxue, that guy has good potential. Being good at fighting and basketball, his body must be in top condition. Not to mention his decent looks. Most importantly, you've seen it earlier. His you.know. What is definitely something worth showing off. That's enough, no more." Huang Xiaomeng's description became more and more outrageous, once again bringing back those disgusting images to Li Muxue's mind. "I've heard that strong women are always lonely and unfulfilled. I guess a gigolo like Yi Lingchen must be in high demand for him to get such a beautiful sugar mommy." Huang Xiaomeng continued her monologue. "That's enough, Xiaomeng. Stop it. Let's go." Li Muxue watched as the sports car faded away into the distance. Oddly, she let out a sigh of relief. In the sports car, it was filled with a faint but pleasing scent. The scent was different from the scent of perfume. It was very faint, most likely being Lin Ruoyu's scent. "Miss Lin, I didn't expect you to pick me up personally today," Yi Lingchen said with a smile. "Grandmaster Yi, you've treated my grandfather's illness. I don't even know how to thank you. Picking you up is the least I could do." Lin Ruoyu thanked him gratefully. "You can just call me Ruoyu." After all the time spent with his treatment, grandfather Lin's condition was almost fully recovered. He looked 10 years younger, unlike when they first met. The Lin family did not know how to show their gratitude towards Yi Lingchen. "Then you can just call me Lingchen. I'm actually younger than you." Yi Lingchen rubbed his nose. "Gran. Lingchen. Earlier at the restaurant dining with you, is that your girlfriend?" Lin Ruoyu asked. She was a martial artist with good senses. It was normal for her to notice Yi Lingchen's private life. Yi Lingchen shook his head, smiling as he replied, "That's just a schoolmate. My brother told me about your participation in the special training camp. Your legend is now being spread all over the Warriors department." Lin Ruoyu looked at Yi Lingchen, biting her lips, then asked, "Your 8 extremities fist is amazing. Can you find time to teach me?" The 8 extremities fist is your family's fist technique. It's only fair that I teach you. Yi Lingchen nodded in agreement. Both of them chatted along the way. Yi Lingchen had seen Lin Ruoyu performing the fist technique, so he understood some of her weaknesses. At that time, he pointed them out one by one, helping Lin Ruoyu greatly. Her gaze towards Yi Lingchen was filled with gratitude. Right at that moment, Yi Lingchen scowled. His gaze fell on the rear view mirror. Did you bring some followers along? No. I didn't. Lin Ruoyu shook her head. That car behind us had been following us all the while. Yi Linghen said blankly, as a gleam flashed across his eyes. Chapter 100. Martial Arts Factions. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 100. Martial Arts Factions Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation were being followed. Lin Ruoyu's expression turned dark. She sneaked a peek at the rear view mirror while maintaining her driving speed. I don't think they will follow us all the way to the Lin family estate. The Porsche continued to speed down the road. Everything appeared to be normal. Honk honk honk. Right then, a huge truck was coming directly towards Yi Lingchen at an alarming speed, accompanied by a series of honking sounds. If they collided, the entire Porsche would be turned into a pancake. *T. Lin Ruoyu cursed under her breath. She spun the wheel quickly, forcibly changing the car's direction. Honk honk honk. After some distance, another truck appeared, rushing at the Porsche once again. They're not friendly. Lin Ruoyu pushed a button in the car. Following that, a bright light flashed within the car. That's our rescue signal I installed in the car. It's to allow my family to obtain my immediate location and send people nearby for assistance, explained Lin Ruoyu. As they were talking, 2 trucks came at them from 2 separate junctions. Lin Ruoyu felt helpless, and could only continue to change her course. Along the way, such a situation happened 5 times. If not for Lin Ruoyu's quick reflexes and excellent driving skills, the outcome would have been disastrous for both of them. It seems that they're trying to hurt us somewhere. Lin Ruoyu took a deep breath, her expression ugly. There were fewer and fewer people around them. It would appear that they have reached a desolate location. At times like these, she dared not get the slightest bit distracted. Her eyes looked everywhere, staying alert to the possibility of danger appearing at any second. The car behind them still followed them at a leisurely speed. Within their field of vision, another black Land Rover appeared, blocking them right in the middle of the road as if waiting for Lin Ruoyu's arrival. I think they are coming for our Lin family. Looking at the scale of their attempt, it was unrelated to Yi Lingchen. Lin Ruoyu looked apologetically at Yi Lingchen. I'm sorry to have dragged you into this. Yi Lingchen shook his head without a care. Let's settle the current situation first. For daring to act against the Lin family, the enemy must have had some unimaginable power behind them. The Porsche slowly pulled to a halt and both of them got out of the car. At the same time, 2 people got down from the Land Rover and another 2 more got down from the one behind it. They were all wearing black short-sleeved shirts. Their build was not bulky, but they had very well-toned muscles. Each movement looked firm and strong, giving off an imposing feeling. They were not normal martial artists. The scariest part was the aura that their bodies emitted. It was a mixture of ruthlessness and violence, as though they had emerged from a mountain of corpses and seas of blood, as though they were the Grim Reaper. Who are you? Lin Ruoyu asked coldly. Miss Lin, have you heard of Earth's Gate? The leader was bald. His left eye had a deep knife scar, a gaze filled with malice. You're from Earth's Gate. Lin Ruoyu gasped in the cold air, her expression darkened. How dare you step foot into China? Our 10-year promise has come to an end. All our grudges with your grandfather, we'll settle it one by one with him. Our aim today was to invite Miss Lin over to our place for a stay. Treat this as collecting interest, the bald man smiled. What if I say no? Lin Ruoyu's eyes narrowed. Hee, that's not up to you. The bald man, confident in his ability to subdue Lin Ruoyu, took his time to explain slowly. In the past, your grandfather and our leader fought. Although your grandfather won by a small margin, I don't think he had it easy too. It's a miracle that he survived. Within the past 10 years, Earth's Gate honored the promise to not set foot into China. Now, not only has our leader fully recovered, his ability has improved greatly. This time, is there anyone in your warriors department that's a match for the Earth's Gate? If you come again, the result will be as before. You will leave this country like a defeated dog. Lin Ruoyu retorted coldly. The bald man laughed, your words won't get you anywhere, just like your current situation. Admit it or not, you're already our prisoner. You can follow us obediently or be dragged away forcefully. The choice is yours. Lin Ruoyu was troubled, unable to come up with any retort. You're sure full of nonsense. We're in a hurry. Get lost once you're done with your speech. Right then, Yi Lingchen, who was just standing at the sidelines, suddenly joined the conversation. He still needed to go back for the live stream after Grandfather Lin's treatment. His schedule was packed and he did not want to waste time listening to this bald guy's bullsh*t. The bald man was stunned. The other 3 men were stunned too. In their minds, this scene should not have happened. Finally, all their gazes focused on Yi Lingchen. At first, Yi Lingchen was like an ant, not worthy of their attention, hence they did not even pay him any heed. Who would have thought that this kid would surprise them with such words? This kid is asking for death. Do you know who you're talking to? The bald man laughed, I've never bothered myself with a bug, nor would I care about a bug's life or death. As long as you're willing to kowtow to me and sincerely apologize, I'll consider sparing your life. After all, killing you would be soiling my hands. Dumb *SS, can you shut up? Scram. Yi Lingchen's gaze was lined with impatience as he spoke. You're asking for death. This is your last chance to voice your regrets. The bald man's eyes flashed with a murderous fury, his voice ruthless and dark. I'll torture you slowly and make you kowtow to your death. Having said that, he walked up towards Yi Lingchen. With each step, his aura grew stronger, as though the Grim Reaper approached. Virum. Right at that moment, accompanying the roaring sound of engines were 3 jeeps rushing onto the scene. 4 people came out from each car, quickly gathering around Lin Ruoyu's side. Their expressions were cold, reporting in one voice, we 12 are the Warriors Department 8 Division's martial artists. Reporting to Miss Lin. With the reinforcements, Lin Ruoyu's dark mood started to improve. After sending out her rescue signal, this 8. Division must have been the closest to her, hence being the first to arrive. Lin Ruoyu announced coldly. They are from the Earth's Gate. The opponents are very strong. Be careful when you take action. Capture if possible and kill those you can't. Understood. The 12 immediately turned their attention to the 4 from Earth's Gate, their eyes gleaming with a serious look on their face. Following that, they lowered their body and pounced forward in an instant. As martial artists, they have heard bits and pieces about the Earth's Gate. Earth's Gate, also known as Earth's Gate Martial Arts Association. It originated from the Sun Nation. Rumor had it that it was passed on from an ancient faction. Their members learned true martial arts, and it was filled with many capable people. All the while they were growing stronger. Simply put, they were like the Shaolin Temple of China. However, the Earth's Gate was obsessive about martial arts and had strong bloodlust. They acted with impunity, once naming themselves as the Sacred Ground Martial Arts. Time and time again they stepped foot into China trying to compete with the Warriors Department. Their arrogance knew no bounds. 10 years ago, Earth's Gate's top fighter was defeated by someone within the Warriors Department and they have disappeared since then. Unexpectedly, they were attempting a comeback this time. The 12 belonged to one team and they were used to cooperating as a team. Furthermore, as martial artists, their combat ability was beyond the average person. One of them was sufficient to handle over 10 adults. They were moving as one. Dexterous, fearsome, and struck like the wind. With 12 against 4, they were confident to take their opponents down quickly.